Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Grassroots Racer. Before I get into this week's episode, I'd like to thank Motorcare Bendigo for giving me this brand new shirt. As you can see, I've been wearing it for the past few episodes. So, if you're in Bendigo and you need some TLC to your car, make sure you drop past, and they'll definitely look after you, especially if you say that I sent you. This week I look forward to speaking to another racer, who's on two wheels instead of four, as it's been a while. I haven't really talked to someone who's raced on two wheels. So, she is very passionate about her racing. Like her Facebook bio says, it's Tracey Track Davies. And she is a very talented female motorcycle road racer from Victoria, Australia. So, how are you tonight, Tracey?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me, and looking forward to a chat.
Yeah, it's great to have you on, and I don't normally have motorcycle racers on here, and to get a racer who races on two wheels instead of four is pretty cool. But like I said in the intro, you seem pretty passionate about motorbikes. So where did the passion start for it?
So when I was younger, my passion actually started on four wheels in speedway cars, so stock car racing with my uncle. And then as I got older, I started volunteering with the flag marshal, the volunteer flag crews, the officials. And as soon as I saw the two wheels, I was like, I got to try that. So from four wheels on the dirt, from speedway to being a race official, to seeing the motorcycle racing, to the no, I've got to try it to get on it. So that's where I've always had racing as a young kid, but just on four, and now I'm on two. So which I've been doing since I was 20, and I'm 38 now. So I've been doing it a long time. So it's
Yeah,
very, very cool.
yeah. So you obviously said that you saw motorbikes, and you're like, I had to give this a try. Did you do any, different types of motorsport? I guess, like, did you do motocross instead of going straight to road
No,
motorcycles?
so
Or
I never actually got into the motocross side of stuff. So started my racing with stock cars, so four wheels, so it's all in the
yeah,
dirt. And I just kind of had that drive. I want to give road racing a go. I was kind of past the dirt with the speedway, muddy
mm,
tracks and and seeing the road bikes racing at Phillip Island, and it's just so fast, and I was just I've got to give it a go. So it took me a little while, and then eventually when I turned 20, I was able to be on track instead of beside it as a race official. So so it's kind of I was racing the stock cars I think at the age of 11 to
mm.
about 4 to 15, and then got involved in the volunteering official side when I was 16, and then was all the time was in love with the roads going side of stuff with the motorbikes, and just thought I got to give it a go.
Mm.
So all these years later, I'm still at it, still playing and loving it even more, faster
Yes,
than ever before.
yeah. So not many people out there, like I was saying earlier, I don't normally talk to motorbike racers, and I'm sure most of my viewers don't really know too much about it. So, what are the category of motorbikes that you race?
So at the minute, I race a mean Italian, and I say that because it is very fast, powerful bike. It's an 1199 Ducati Panigale. So it's currently purple. I'll give you a quick. It's just I
Yeah,
don't know if you can see it too good,
yeah. No,
but
it's all right.
yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm on at the minute. So it's a big twin, and it's very fast, and it's awesome. I've raced Hondas in the past, super bikes, and I had a massive, unfortunate crash a couple of years ago on the
Mm,
Honda, and it was unsalvageable. So then we just stuck with the Ducati, and
mm.
being just with that one bike, I've picked up and I've gotten faster on it, and it's just I really enjoy the category which I can race in with this bike, which can be as Australian superbikes if I wanted to. And there's a category called Thunderbikes and Bears, which is a category dedicated for non-Japanese manufacturers. So Bears all like Italian, like the Triumphs and British bikes as well. So so I have a few options
Yeah.
to race
And
in, which is good.
yeah, so obviously, you have lots of different, you've raced different types of bikes during your years. If it's okay with you, where was the crash, and do you remember what happened? You don't have to if you don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So it was in between a COVID lockdown because we were forever in lockdown in Victoria, and I was racing at Vic Titles at Winton, and I got caught out in the rain, and I tagged the white line. I had one lap
Mm.
to go, and I was on slick, so we raced on they look like non-treaded tires, and I tagged the white line, and it put me in a massive high side,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the bike caught fire, and it was a sad ending after that. But I was pretty winded, but I was all right. I
Yeah.
got like my fingers were all sore and my hip and stuff, but I was all good. But I was a bit
Mm.
bit sad for me bike, but
Yeah.
it was just we understood what happened and we could move forward from it. So it was just one of those unfortunate things.
Mm.
The rain caught me out and sent me into space.
Yeah. High siding is not a fun feeling. I can imagine for you guys. Watching, MotoGP and stuff. If when you go flying, you go quite high in the air, so landing is going to be
Yeah.
quite rough.
Yeah, so I had all the good gear on and that all
Mm.
helped and everything. So we don't cheap out on our gear. I wear a chest plate and a mouth guard. I actually wear a mouth guard as well. A lot of riders don't, but I do. Highly recommend that one. And back protector and all the gloves and the boots
Yeah.
and all that good stuff.
So do they make
So
that all mandatory except for the mouth guard?
yeah, so a chest plate and mouth guards is an option. So it's up to you whether or not you same with earplugs. I wear earplugs. That's for the juniors, the earplugs are a must.
Mm.
But for the seniors, it's up to you if you wear a chest plate, mouth guard, or earplugs.
Yep.
So a back protector and the helmet has to be in date within, I think, 10 years. So yeah, anything older than that, they won't pass it for scrutineering. So they're pretty strict and they have to be, keep it safe.
Yeah.
So, which is good.
And what kind of weight would that add? Because obviously it would probably add a little bit of weight, but obviously it's for safety. So,
Yeah, I'm never, because cowhide is heavier than kangaroo. So a lot of suits are made out of kangaroo, and um, even some of the gloves are made out of oh, it's a type of fish, but I can't think. Stingray. I just had to blank there. Yeah, so they're really light leather, and but the your everyday cowhide is the heaviest. But I'm thinking, probably about another 6-ish kind of kilos on top, maybe between the boots and the helmet and everything. So at most, I would think it's not too bad.
Yeah. And would your class of racing have a minimum requirement on weight?
No, which is good. So, yeah, it's more that's more international kind of, MotoGP, that kind of higher up. So what I do there isn't, so which is good. But obviously you'll find, depending on what bike, if you're on a small little 250, if you're a bigger person, then you'll find a bit of a struggle and stuff like that. But yeah, there's no weight limit in the categories that I race at. So that's good, because there's a lot of guys who race the little 250s and the 400s, and they're quite bigger guys and they have a lot of fun on it. So the smaller bike.
You did mention earlier that you are from down Victoria Way.
Yep.
What sort of tracks do you guys race at? Because I know you've raced at Phillip Island. I'm at a guess Winton. Would it be?
Yeah,
oh yeah,
so
you said Winton before. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're pretty lucky in Victoria. We've got Winton, Phillip Island, which we've just done 2 weekends back to back. We're back there next weekend for the 5 hour. So I've got an endurance race down there. And we're not far from Mount Gambier as well. So they've got Mac Park, and we've got our local track, which is Broadford, which is nice and close to home. So I spend a lot of time at Broadford. And where else? We've got a couple of the little tracks not too far away. So we're pretty lucky in Victoria. We've got a few to choose from. So all in reasonable distance. So we did Sydney Motorsport Park a couple of months ago for the Sydney 5 hour. So that was really good. That was my first time racing there. That was amazing. Amazing. That's such a good track. So much fun.
Oh, I can imagine, and I can't wait to go down there. Very soon. I hope to be in Sydney racing there. But Broadford is actually a very close track to myself. Not very, very close, but pretty close. I raced there in supercarts. I'm not sure you heard of them. Yeah,
yeah, I have seen them hook
yeah.
round.
So
They're fast.
yeah, in 2020, I think it was when they resurfaced the track.
Yeah.
We were there the week after. And it was the track was wet as well, and I managed to break the lap record by 3 seconds. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Oh,
it was.
beautiful. So what did you end up getting?
I think it was a
The lap time.
107.2.
Yeah, cool. That's nice.
Yeah. What do
That's
you
looking.
guys? What do you guys
So
sort of do around there?
so my PB around Broadford is 60.1, so almost under a minute. So next time we're back there in a few weeks in November for the last round of the VIX, and I'm going to crack that 1 minute. So I'll be like 60, and then I get 60.1. I'm like, oh, like so close to breaking the under the minute. But the really
Mm.
fast guys, the pro, like Jed Metcher, I think he's 56, 56.
Yeah.
6 or something crazy like that. When he was there on a ride day not long ago, I was working at, and he was hooking around doing 56 high 56s, and we we're just like in aura. It's amazing, completely different, just so fast on that
Yeah.
little track.
Yeah, Broadford is a very well put together track, especially for motorbikes. I feel like they would go well around there. We get a lot
Yeah,
of G forces when we drive around there. So coming up the turn one,
yeah, up
you
the
know, we get
hill.
a lot, and then down where the pit entrance is as well
Yeah,
through that long right ender, we also get a lot of G
yeah,
forces through there.
and then through the lefty as well.
Oh yeah,
That'd be
that's
yeah,
not too bad actually. Because yeah, I think we sort of avoid it
yeah.
a bit up there, but yeah, it's a very tricky
It'd be a
track.
lot of fun.
Mm,
I've only ever done it on the bike, so it'd be interesting on a cart.
yeah,
That's for sure. I think
yeah.
the day we were there, it was pouring with rain.
Oh,
and
right.
and you guys were just like spinning out everywhere. So I was just like, oh, but it looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've
And I was just going to say, it just they were hooking around in the rain,
yeah,
and it looked a lot
yeah.
of fun.
Oh yeah, I haven't been there when the motorbikes were, so I might
Yeah,
talk and I'll see what dates it is and see if come up have a look.
yeah, definitely,
Um,
yeah,
because you guys seem to be doing really cool stuff in the motorbikes, and I've never personally seen motorbikes race, so I might see if I can check it out
yeah,
because it's close to
yeah,
home.
definitely. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll shoot the dates, and yeah, definitely be good.
Mm. And is there any other tracks interstate that you've raced at?
I've done Wakefield. I've had a play there. Unfortunately, I hope that can reopen soon because
Mm.
it was fun. It was a good fun track. And I've raced at Malala,
Yep.
and I've done Tasmania at Simmons Plains a long, long time ago. So I've done a few
Mm.
out of staters, and yeah, just want to do a lot more.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Would, would the
it's
hairpin
good.
would the hairpin be tricky on the motorbike? Because it almost looked like you'd fall off with the banking.
Oh, at the banking,
Yeah.
it's really deceiving because when you walk it, it's like so, and then when you're on the bike, you don't even need to turn it; it just does it. So yeah, and then it's like power out and then through the sweeper. It was a long time ago I did it, but
Mm.
it was a lot of fun
Yeah.
track, and the banking's just incredible. It's just
Mm.
like, but we work the G forces very
Mm.
differently than the kart, so it just kind of it's in power on out. Yeah,
Yeah. And just talking about G forces and stuff on the motorbikes, you'd have to have a very strong core to lift yourself back up and hold your position, I guess, while you're leaning into the corner. So what sort of training do you have to do? Do you have to focus on your core,
yeah,
your neck?
mostly core, the lower. So I rely on my legs a lot to hold onto the bike. So it's all your core strength, legs, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I to go to the gym and cut a bit of firewood to help out with the arm strength as well. So yeah, I
Mm,
always try and keep as active as I can, and yeah, but it's mostly the legs because if you start holding them with your arms too tight, your arms get too tired, and then it becomes a lot of hard work. And you got to want to make it as easy as possible
mm,
to chuck the bike around, and you got to let the lower half of your body do that because you're working the throttle hand and your
yeah,
brake, and you got to get that bike over and not wear yourself out at the same time. So
Yeah, I know what you mean. In a way, like if you're gripping too hard, even on the steering wheel, you start to lose it a bit.
Yes.
If you when
And
you're
then
going for a long race.
yeah, and then you get false information back, and then you think there's a problem with the
Mm,
bike, or even with the cart. You think, oh, there's a problem, and it's not a problem. It's you holding on too tight, which
yeah.
is causing the problem. So yeah, so I always try and alleviate. If I feel there's an issue, it's like, well, what am I doing
Mm,
wrong? First of all, relax.
mm,
Don't hold on too tight, and work your lower body. So yeah,
yeah. So you were talking about tires before. So how many sets of tires do you think you'd go through a weekend? And do you have different compounds like
yeah.
the
So we've
GP?
got so I've got many different. I'll run Pirellis. So there's many different new compounds with those as well, like SC1, SC0. I really like the softer one, which is a zero. I can get a good feel and run it to how I like it, and I can get a pretty good run out of it, and I try and make them last the whole weekend if we can. The front we get more out of it than the rear. That's just normal
Yeah.
with the bikes, but yeah, sometimes we have to throw an extra rear on just depending, how everything's working and how fast I'm going. And yeah, and then you've got your wet weather tires for when it's raining. So,
Mm,
you got different compounds with those as well. And then you've got different brands
mm,
and, depending on what you like as a rider as well,
yeah.
and different sizes. So they can make the bike turn different as
All
well.
right.
Your bike's not set up for a taller tire, and yeah, and there's bigger fronts, and yeah, there's lots of
Yeah.
different things to choose from. So,
Mm,
and yeah, and then we get a big pile.
yeah.
So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Seems very complicated with the tire situation. But I do know because it's a grassroots level. You're not like MotoGP where you got money to throw at
yeah,
it.
man.
But do you guys have a spare bike for wet setups or any?
No, no.
Yeah.
So we rely on the number one bike, which is the number one, which is what we got, and we'll just we'll tune it. We'll just set it into wet mode, which will calm the bike's aggression down. We might soften it a bit for the rain, but we don't get too crazy with suspension because we're not. That suspension stuff is a work of art. It's a voodoo magic, and it gets
Mm,
very involved with the pros. When you watch them guys do it, they're always pulling fork springs out and changing this and that. But we
yeah.
just work with what we've got, and we make it work. So we do the best, and I picked up a fair bit of confidence in the rain lately. So feeling
Yeah.
good. It just feels good that you can work with what you've got to make it work. If that
Mm,
makes sense,
yeah.
we haven't got the big funds to throw our way with suspension. So, what can I do as a rider? So I'll play around with tire pressures a lot. Sometimes I'll come in and the tire pressure's really dropped. It's like, all right, so now we have to go out with higher PSI and try and find that balance of what works and what feeling I get back to feel comfortable to go faster. So
Yeah.
so it's all little things like that, but we don't have the suspension knowledge and understanding to work that kind of magic out. So we go to the next best thing. All right, so I'll play with the tire pressures and see what works. And we always kind of find that happy,
Yeah.
happy medium that works, which
Yeah.
is good. So,
Yeah, once you find, where your confidence is at, you can get very quick on the bike, or even in the car. But another thing, I've just another question, like back to I guess the balancing and stuff. Is it hard to learn to keep your balance because obviously you do have to work your core and stuff. So your first time on
yeah,
the bike probably be a bit hard to learn.
yeah. So it's all a matter of having that confidence in the tires themselves, knowing that you can crank the bike over as far as you can, and knowing that it's going to grip and it's going to be safe. So the secret I learned as a rider is tricking your brain to make it what you're doing is safe. So because your brain already knows that what you're about to do is dangerous, yeah, it's like, oh, this is dangerous, you can get hurt. So your basic survival reactions heighten. So you have to retrain your brain that that everything you're doing is safer, and the tires work at a certain speed better than if you're going slower. So if you're going too slow, they lose temperature, and then that becomes dangerous in itself. So, so tricking the brain, yep, I need to go at a faster pace, which will settle the bike, which will make it turn better, which will make it grip better, which is what you want overall.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to kind of work that out with, because, everyone, I'm not a natural talent. I had to learn it all, and learning by doing, and understanding, what works for me, and, getting faster and is safer in the safest way possible so you're not, in that panic moment, which when you start off, your confidence is very new, and it takes a bit with any new sport that you've never done before. So, I never rode motorbikes as a kid. I was horse riders, horse riding and driving speedway cars or paddock cars. I knew nothing about motorbikes as a kid, but now it's like, oh, if only I had that as a kid. I see the juniors now, and I'm like, oh, I had a pet rock. Look at these kids out there racing around, It's pretty cool. It's cool what the kids can do now with the junior development stuff. They had them racing at Phillip Island last week, and it was just so good for them, like so good to watch. They're so fast. They have no fear. It's really cool.
Yeah. And when you were, a bit younger, you obviously would have looked up to someone. And like you said, you didn't really start the bikes until later, but when you did you have someone, a rider who inspired you? And you really looked up to them?
Yeah, I just liked, because I spent so much time at club level. I just loved what you could do as a club racer. Like, these clubbies were punching out these amazing lap times, and there was always that MotoGP. Colin Edwards is always my favourite MotoGP rider. But I always just kind of, that's a whole different level that, these guys on, club level were never going to reach. But what they're doing themselves is just as amazing at that level, because they're doing their passion, they're doing what they can with what they got to go racing. So I always kind of kept my little, who's your hero? And I'm like, I like to keep it local, it's seeing people out there doing the best what they can with what they got. That's inspiring for me, But Colin Edwards will always be my legend. He's always the MotoGP hero that I always went for. Got to have one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was growing up, Valentino Rossi, he was my hero. He was in the glory. And I didn't really go for him because he was winning. My dad was a fan of him, from when he was in Moto 3, stuff like that. When whatever they used to call it back then, I can't exactly remember.
125s, yeah.
The 125s. And I've got Italian heritage, and I use the number 46 because my birthday is the 4th of the 6th. So
awesome.
Yeah,
it works. But you always have your little, who they are. Yeah, Rossi and all that. They're all legends in their own. But I always kind of kept going back, like, oh, I love these little local legends. They're so cool. They try to do what they do, and even now it's like, oh, look at them. They're doing their thing and having a great time at it. So, but you've always got your Rossis and all that amazing, which is just another level altogether. You can only dream of something like that, but it's pretty cool knowing that that's where some people end up.
And we were talking about numbers just a second ago. What's the story behind the 686?
So I've had a few race numbers. So when I was racing speedway cars, it was 59. And then it went to 000 for a while. And then when I started motorcycle racing, I went 84, and I was that for a year because I was born in 1984. So that was my number for a while. And then I kind of had some, crashes and a bit of bad luck on the 600s, and 84 is not working for me. So I ended up, when I got on a superbike, which was the Honda. So when I brought my first superbike, I just went random 68.
Yep.
And I thought, that'll do. And then I was at the track one day and someone else had 68. And I said, can you change it? And I'm like, I had a spare 6 laying around. So I stuck that on. And 10 years later, I'm still 686. So it's kind of working for me, and I've kind of left it like that. So, people are like, 686. I say, it's it's where it kind of was meant to be. So that's what I run, and I kind of like it. It's working.
Yeah, another thing else that's working for you is your bike color, and your leathers are really
Yep,
bright and they do stand out as
love
well.
it.
Did you come up with the design yourself?
Yeah, so it used to be the Panigale used to be red and white, and it was over lockdown, um, and it was like we wanted to change the color for when racing did eventually return, and I had a dream, and it had to be purple, and so it's like has to be purple, so purple and gold, and then a good friend of mine, Emma, was like, "It's Spyro. If you remember the game Spyro on PlayStation." It was a big thing in the 90s, and they did
Yeah.
a remake for the PS4. So it was like, it is Spyro. So we got little Spyros on the
All right.
bike and stuff like that. Yeah. So that, and it works well. So, and it looks good, and there's not many purple Ducatis around. So
Mm.
I love it. And it suits the gear, and it all matches, and it's good. It looks good. It's pretty, it feels
Yep.
good.
But are you starting to see, a lot more female riders, biking, racing now on the bikes, and how's it make you feel knowing that you're, showing it to the guys and there's more coming along?
Love it. There's a lot more females now, just and in road riding overall as well. So coming into racing, there's quite a few girls that come up to the 300s and they have a go on a super bike and things like that. So the numbers do steadily rise, and then they might drop off for a bit, but um, we've got a few that are hanging around and having a go. So it's good to see, and they come out and we have they run the girl only ride days at Broadford, so that gives them an opportunity to have a go on the track. And if it's something that they want to be interested in, it opens the door for them to, I can have a race on the track. I've now ridden the track on my road bike, and whether or not they progress forward in Sydney, there's a lot of girls that race up in Sydney. When we were up there, I was quite surprised with how many girls are having a race up there. So that's really good. And yeah, so they're coming through. It's hard work, but we're getting there. So it's good. So just
Yeah.
always open the door for opportunities for ladies to have a play.
Yeah, 100%. You know, what Motorsport Australia has a really great program. Like you said, the girls only ride days. And they're really trying to get girls on the grid. Like they're I guess the girls on the grid Motorsport Australia, things suggest. And
Yeah,
it's great to see a lot more women getting into racing. Like we've got I think three in our category at the minute. So,
yeah,
it's good to
good.
see more and more racing. And they're showing it to me as well. So,
Yeah,
got to step up my game a
yeah,
little
it's
bit.
good.
But
Yeah, but
yeah.
it's all respectful though. Like, yeah.
Mm,
So I just weekend gone. Like I got going down to MG at Phillip Island, I got hit up the back by another rider on the first lap, and he crashed, and I managed to stay upright and stuff. But he was really good. He'd come over, oh, I'm so sorry, apologise and all that stuff. But I was on a mission that weekend last year on Sunday. I had a goal in mind, and they kind of put me backwards a little bit. But we managed to fix it, and it wasn't too bad. And we went back out and had two more races, and yeah, just finding the feet. But yeah,
mm,
sometimes stuff happens, and everyone's pretty good about it. So
yeah.
and then like the girls beat the boys. We have a little giggle, and it's good, but it's all pretty respectful. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. So yeah, there's no hard feelings or anything. So it makes it more welcoming and fun,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's good fun.
Do you remember your first endurance race? On the bikes?
I did do an endurance back in 2010, and I was coming back from injury then, so I couldn't stay on the bike as long as I could. So the next endurance I did was only a few months ago, with the girls in Sydney, Slick Chicks Racing, we're called, with Ash and Lee, and it was so good. I did two 45-minute stints, and the other girls, we shared it between the three of us. And it was, yeah, once you go into a rhythm and you settle down, you could just keep going until the fuel light basically come on and said you need to pit. So, yeah, it was really good. So I'm really looking forward to 2 weeks' time. The Slick Chick girls, we're all back together at Phillip Island in 2 weeks for the Phillip Island 5 hour. So if anyone's around then,
Mm.
come and say hello. So it's going to
Yeah.
be a good show. Fingers crossed the weather stays dry.
So you
Should be
guys,
sick of the rain.
just sorry to interrupt, but you guys have a very busy calendar by the looks of it.
Yeah, so we've been, I think also too, because the last 2 years have been such a mess with the COVID lockdowns, they really jammed in a lot in the first half. And then in winter, we went to Sydney for the 5 hour, and then everything's picked up in Victoria and smashed out till pretty much December. So we had Hartwell last round, then MotoGP, and then we're back at Phillip Island this weekend. We're back there next weekend, and then it's the last round of the Vics, and then it's World Superbikes, and then Tail and Bend. So, and then it's December and Christmas. So it's going to rock around pretty fast. But we've been very busy, but it's been a lot of fun, and I've been really enjoying it. So I've been enjoying my motorcycling a lot lately.
When we were at Phillip Island, we were given a talking to and drivers briefing to keep the track clean for you guys and not run off. We wanted it to
Good
look
work.
nice.
It was so muddy.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad.
Yeah, we I don't think we really listened that well. Yeah, we were told the MotoGP guys are coming, so make sure
Yeah.
the track's clean and don't run off. They said if you can avoid it,
Yeah.
please do.
Please do, yeah. You guys would get stuck definitely. We end up camping there for the weekend as well, and it was actually really good. But I felt sorry for the volunteer race officials. They were trying to set up their tent in the pouring rain, and it's like they've been out on a point for stupid o'clock in the morning till stupid o'clock at night. Out there so we could go race, and they put in the hard hours, the Orange Army. So we have to thank them for making it all happen so we can race our toys. But it was a big weekend, and it was good though. It was good. It was good to have it back.
Do you remember what one of your most favorite memories were or achievements?
Thunderbike category at the big titles. So I've won that twice, and I'm leading the championship again this year. So I'm going to hopefully wrap that up at the last round, which is good. But I've got so many good memories. I just, finishing my first ever race meeting was, a dream come true, because it's something that I always wanted to do, is go racing. And, doing the MotoGP support category, I've done quite a few of those now. Just all these little increments. First time getting my knee down, dragging it through the corner. Just my first wheelie. There's just so many. I just don't have like one memory that I just, it's just so awesome, just everything about it, the people you meet, who you get to race with. I was pretty cool getting lapped by Troy Bayliss when I raced with him when he come out of retirement. So that's a pretty good special memory, because not too many people can say that they were lapped by, 3-time world champion Troy Bayliss. So yeah, so little things like that, it all adds up, and it makes the story just all good.
Yeah. And for the viewers who are wondering, whereabouts are you racing next?
So we're racing next weekend. So not this weekend, coming next weekend at Phillip Island.
Yep.
With the Slick Chick racing team, the all-girl endurance race at Phillip Island. And then the weekend after that at Broadford.
Do you have any plans yet for 2023?
Got something hopefully in the works, but got a lot to think about and choose before then. So I'll be racing. So that's all I know. And so we've got some stuff we've got to kind of put down on paper and make it all happen. So it'll be good. It'll be good. So watch this space.
Yeah. Do you have any sponsors who support you and your team?
Yeah. So we've got Brainy Beers, and who else? I'm just double checking because it's late at night. RBT, Fifth Wheeler, and Villa Verda Free Range Eggs. So yeah, and all the awesome people who support us, which is really good. And Throttle Girl magazine. Better not forget. I'm just like, who have I forgotten? So yeah, but no, I'm very thankful and grateful for everyone who comes on board and helps us out and makes what I do possible.
And what social media channels can people follow your progress on?
Mostly on the Instagram, so Tracey Track, and on Tracey Track, Track Racing, and on the Facebook Team Track Racing. and Tracey Track Racing, and Instagram's Team Track Racing. Yeah. So I got a few, but they all kind of link together. So yeah. So if I've given you the wrong link, you'll find it. You will find it. So yeah, it's all linked in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would like to thank you so much for speaking to me tonight, Tracey. It was so interesting finding out about racing bikes. I can see you've been doing it. You've been having a lot of fun doing it, and you really love it. So I wish you all the
Yeah.
best for the next race.
Oh, thank you. And thanks again for reaching out, and we've timed it well because I've got 12% battery left.
All right. Yeah. I hope everyone's enjoyed this tonight's episode, and make sure you like, share on Facebook or subscribe on YouTube. That's another wrap, everyone. I'm getting closer to 100 episodes, so let's see how we go for the rest of the year. And if you're racing this weekend, remember, drive fast and take chances safely, of course. Thanks, Tracy, and
That's
thanks
it.
everyone for watching.
No worries. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you.